Welcome back. I haven't seen you two in a while. I assume you two want the usual? Xander and Julia both nodded, and the waitress turned to Josie. Welcome to the cafe. We don't have menus, but if it's for breakfast or lunch, we have it, and it's amazing. What can I get for you? Josie wasn't sure what to say. She hadn't expected no menus. What had they ordered? She didn't want to order something that made her look like a glutton, but she also didn't want to order something that was going to leave her starving in a couple of hours.
Just give her the same as me,
Xander spoke up, saving her from deciding. She sighed in relief and gave him a gentle nudge to say thanks. The seconds ticked by in companionable silence. Josie took a moment to study the small cafe and was surprised by the homey atmosphere. It seemed more like a family's kitchen than a public restaurant. Josie, tell me, what do you do for a living? Julia interrupted her thoughts to ask. I work for a cleaning service. Josie waited for the condemnation she normally got when she said that. She wasn't ashamed. It was an honest living, and she worked hard, but people always looked down on her as if cleaning wasn't good enough. That must be hard, exhausting work, Julia said, surprising her with the kindness in her words. It is. I was fortunate to get the job, though. I won't look a gift horse in the mouth. It pays the bills for the most part and keeps my head above water. Xander and Julia shared a puzzled look at her words. What do you mean you were fortunate to get the job? Did you have trouble? Josie blushed. She hadn't meant for them to pick up on that. She cleared her throat and prayed the waitress would come back so she could change the subject. No such luck, though. I was married before. My ex Michael took me for every dime I had in the divorce. To make it worse, he and his friends spread horrible lies about my bad business sense and inability to handle the accounts I had at my previous job, and I quickly became someone no one wanted to hire in my field. Julia raised her brows high. It couldn't have been that bad. Oh, it was worse. He took accounts I normally handled to supposedly do random checks and balances. This was right before we broke up. He messed them up so much that I would need a lot of time to fix them, but wasn't given the opportunity because nobody trusted me at that point. He was my boss, so people believed him. I mean, he told them he divorced me because I had so many people lose money and he couldn't be with someone like that. I'm guessing that wasn't true? Julia asked. No, I divorced him after I realized he was having an affair. Oh my God! Julia shook her head in disbelief. The only job I could get was cleaning houses, and then only because he hadn't gotten to them yet. Julia scowled. I don't understand. Why would he do that? Josie shrugged. She really didn't know why. She could only come up with guesses. He was jealous? I was the breadwinner. He was the boss in the business, but I brought in the accounts. People trusted me. He had a handful of clients. None were multi-million-dollar companies like mine. I brought in 3 times as much money as he did. We both have college degrees, but he struggled to get clients. He found some bimbo to shack up with and got his buddies from school to pull strings and complain over my bad business practices. They smeared my name all over. I was fired, but he stayed and took everything I had ever worked for. He moved in with Miss Double D, and I got a small apartment. Xander growled and squeezed her hand to get her attention. What is his name? Where can I find him? She grinned but shook her head. Karma will come back and get him. I have to believe everything happens for a reason. It did, actually. If all of that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have met you that day. Xander grunted and kissed her knuckles again. That's true, but I don't like that he got away with pulling that crap. Out of curiosity, what field were you in? Julia asked with a kind smile. I'm an accountant. I graduated with full honors and had the pick of jobs out of school. I stupidly moved here because I thought I was in love. I took a job at a small firm we both worked at, and I was happy. I quickly became their top accountant, above Michael, who was my supervisor, and that's when...